What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gussler, here with my co-host, Matt Swift. Matt, how are you? Sounds about right. Occasional co-host and producer extraordinaire, Corey Ensko, is also here. Corey, how are you?
Doing fine. Doing all right.
Feels like I'm just introducing you guys on Crossfire or something like that on CNN. Like, it's just, how are you? How are you? You know, I think I already know how you are, but I'm just being cordial. Just to start the show, we have show notes here, and I just told Corey I was going to read his show note on the air. So this is pretty much how I really think you guys are feeling. Poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji. Times about like 15. So welcome to this week's episode where we're trying not to get too negative or bummed out, but this was not a great week to do a show. Swift.
Yeah, my takeaways were it was crap. That was my when you did show notes, I was like, how do I visualize it was crap? So I just used a bunch of poop emojis. That's all I got to say about that match.
Great. Well, unless you're living under a rock, or if you fell asleep before the game ever started, which I'm sure a lot of people did.
Good for you.
At 10, good for you. Yeah. It's a better use of your time. 10:30 p.m. kickoff. Let's not do that again. Charlotte FC lost to the LA Galaxy on the road 3-0. So Swift, let's rip this bandit off, man. It was a pretty rough game, yeah.
Yeah, very rough. That's a long time to stay up to be excited, and then within the first 15 minutes, just have all of your hopes dashed. It's such a gut punch, right? Like, you know, when you watch a game, like, oh, we're still in this, or you're down 1-0, but literally, we allow 3 goals in the first 15 minutes, so it's just pretty much, yeah, like, okay,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
so it's super disheartening.
Yeah, let's talk about a few things because, like I said, I've got some show notes. I have some thoughts. I have some opinions. I know you've got some John Madden-esque moments here for the show later, but let's talk about that starting 11 because there was a little bit of some shakeups. Maybe for some folks that were expecting, maybe not expecting. If you look at the starting 11 this week, you had Vargas start in front of Abada, which I think most of us probably expected to see have happening, right? Yeah. But then in the midfield. And I'm going to eat some crow here a little bit later, but you had Jabril Gianni starting at the 6th position in place of Ashley Westwood. So for those who, again, may have slept through the game and had a better use of their time, why didn't Ashley Westwood start in this game, Swift?
Yeah, apparently he wasn't feeling well. He was sick pretty much throughout the whole entire week, and he felt better the day of the game. And so, you know, they just, I guess, just cautious-wise, just started him on the bench. So, but that's what it was.
Was it shocking for you to see Gianni get the start or the nod at that position?
A little bit. The only thing I could think of was, you know, you could bring in Bronico off the bench when the game is tied at the very end, you know, which sounds nice now to say. But that was kind of like maybe my thought. I was like, okay, maybe they're going to bring Brant in later on to close the game down, or, you know, or see the game out if we actually have a lead or something. So that was maybe what I was thinking. So not necessarily shocked, but just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I think a lot of people were shocked that Westwood was on the bench and they hadn't heard that he was sick. That definitely raised a lot of eyebrows.
Well, I think that's gamemanship a little bit. Like if you can not tip your hat a little bit about what's happening, or if you're going to have a surprise starting 11 because of XYZ, you know, if you can not share that 100%, and it's not like Westwood didn't play. He did.
Right.
He was on the bench, you know, he just didn't start potentially. Right. But, you know, I was still, I know you guys shared on the episode last week when I wasn't here. I was still a little bit shocked that Brant didn't get starting minutes there, which I'm sure he will talk about some substitutions later. But I thought Gianni played okay for all things considered for a midfield and a starting 11 that let in 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. But I thought he did okay for that position. What do you think?
Yeah, I think okay. You know, first game too. Okay. I mean, no one has really stood out in the first 2 games, let's be honest, but he, you know, hasn't really done anything that I'm like, oh, you got to get him out of here. But I mean, unfortunately, it wouldn't have mattered how well he played because other folks decided to have horrible games.
Well, let's rip the Band-Aid off and talk about these goals a little bit, because it happened in the first 15 minutes. So it's not like we can talk about a lot that happened in the game before this point. But you still had the same back line as we saw last week. You had Harry Tuffalo, you had Andrew Privet, Tim Ream, Nathan Byrne. So on paper, should have been okay. But for whatever reason, Galaxy kind of ate our lunch the first half. Like tons of shots on goal, tons of goals in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just control possession like crazy. Like what stood out to you about what went wrong in this game? Because I don't want to sit here and rehash all 3 goals. I guess we could, but like what went wrong in the first half?
We're gonna rehash every single one of them. No, what went wrong was, well, first off, reading comments and Discord and then online, a lot of people were giving, Tim Ream and Andrew Privet a lot of hell for the way they played. And rightfully so. Let me first say that. The whole back line played pretty bad. And then, of course, we'll talk about Andrew Moore. He was solely responsible for one of the goals. But as I went back and watched this, Harry Tuffalo was hot freaking garbage this night. And the more I go back and watch it, the madder I actually get. And I think he is actually responsible for at least 2 of the goals. Andrew just literally passes the ball to Klaus for the third one. But the first 2 goals, I think, are Harry's fault. People were blaming Andrew for the first one, yada yada yada, and I've got some screenshots that we could show. But the more I watch it, the madder I get at Harry, and Harry did not play well in the first game, so I'm frustrated there. And I think the combination of that, and again, I go back to our tactics. Like what game plan do we have? What strategy are we running out? It doesn't make any sense, and I definitely want to talk about that as we do the show, because it's this, we talked about it last game. It's something that just keeps repeating, and I still don't understand it, and I just need somebody to explain it to me like a 5-year-old. I'm going to need Dean Smith, Zoran, Bobby, somebody to explain to me why we're running the offense that we do, because they could tell me exactly what it is, and my response would be like, well, it's not working. So it's getting frustrating at this point. But I think, to answer your question, David, a long way around, I think Harry was a big liability in this game.
So you brought up one of the notes I had written down here, and I know you were pretty vocal last year about some of the young guys we had starting: Nick Scardina, Marshall Ruddy at left back and right back at times. Mm-hmm. And there were times where they were even pushing up, still running the same system that Dean expected them to run, even though they were younger, not as experienced, maybe didn't have the skill set to be able to go back and forth and play more of a wing back. But in the same situation this year, you're kind of seeing that. Like in the first game, Nathan Byrne was pushed way forward on a transition ball that kind of helped St. Louis score last week. You see it again in this game where they're being asked to push up. They're letting guys out wide kind of catch them off guard. I think the second goal was, Harry noticed the guy pinching the sideline and tried to make a header, stopped it, but then they went right back to it when they got possession again, which caused that same goal. So I guess twofold question. One, was JMR and Nick Scardina really that bad last year? Or was it the system? Now that you're seeing this again happening again this year, and then what do you do to Harry Tuffalo and Nathan Byrne to kind of correct this moving forward?
That's a good and fair question. I do think having Ruddy and Scardini as your fullbacks is a disaster. Ruddy I like better, of course, and now he's at Red Bull and doing okay.
He apparently had a pretty good game last week too.
Yeah,
to be fair,
but it's a combination of that and a combination again, like what is Dean trying to do? And it makes no sense. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, I think the screenshots that I took of the first 2 goals kind of sets up kind of what you're going through, David. And Corey, if you want to, for folks that are not on YouTube, you should come follow us and watch this. Took some screen grabs of the first goal so we could talk through this. So, all right. So what we have is we have LA Galaxy in possession, balls at the feet, kind of in their more like in their defensive third. And if you look, there is a guy that I've circled who's also wide open in the middle. And I guess Harry is maybe thinking about maybe guarding him. I don't know. And the guy's like has his arm out like, hey, I'm wide open because our midfielders are not playing defense. But then there's this guy out on the wing that should be Harry's man who is just absolutely wide open. There is not anybody 20 yards from him. And so this is how this first goal starts. Now, Corey, if you want to go to the second frame,
make sure you throw a boom in there too, and throw the Madden words in there. I'm just joking. So.
Now, keep in mind this is 7 minutes into this game. Now this ball has been played down the field, so I want to call out a couple of things here. So you have Harry finally tracks back and gets this guy, which he should have already been on him. But then the guy who was kind of open in the midfield and was like, hey, I'm open too, he just starts running down the field, and Luka is just kind of like, I guess I'll get back. And instead of following the man, Luka just runs in the middle of the field back. And he's so slow to get back. And this is 2 games in a row where he's done something like this. And so, as you see, they have the ball on the wing. He has now played it to the guy who's also just wide open. And then a couple of other things I want to call out. You have Tim Ream that's, I guess, on Klaus. And then you have Andrew Privet, who is at the penalty spot by himself, really guarding no one. And I'll cut him some slack here because he is trying to get back, and you kind of set up and see what's ahead of you. Nathan Byrne has a guy at the top of the 18-yard box because Gianni is nowhere to be found too. But also behind Nathan Byrne, there's just another guy that's just wide open. And this actually happens pretty much all night long. And the same guy who is wide open in this the screen grab also almost has a backdoor free goal later on in this game that I didn't highlight at all. This game could have been 6-0. So it's just this ball could have clearly gone out wide or switched wide out to this guy who's running down the field, who's wide open. But this is what we do. We do this really ignorant thing where we pinch in and overload one side. And then also our wing, or I call them wing backs. Our fullbacks are just playing in the midfield. And so as you see in the screen grab, the ball gets played into the middle. He gets the ball, he shoots, it goes off the post, and I think there's one more screen grab after that, I believe, Corey, right? Nope.
Well, and I want to make sure I'll be clear too. Yeah. If you watch that replay, Kalina does tip the ball ever so slightly, and it then hits the post. Yeah. So it's like an unfortunate situation where Kalina just, if he had a half inch more, could have pushed it probably out wide. Stopped it deflecting back, but it doesn't excuse some of this gap here. Like, especially in the midfield.
If he would have pushed it wide, this dude that's wide open over here probably would have got it, because this actually happens 2 other times. He almost gets a goal and he almost gets a rebound. The same guy. So it's our fullbacks are pinched in too much. They're up the field. It just makes no sense. So this is what led to the first goal. Just a calamity of defensive structure that I just don't understand. So,
are you ready to talk about second goal yet, or do you want me to pull this back down?
No, we could go ahead and talk about the second goal.
Well, Corey, it was only like 2 minutes between goals, so we really don't have much gameplay between.
Well, there's a dramatic pause there, so I was like, do you want these images or no?
We're just letting the image stew, especially for the audio listeners, just letting it stew about what that formation was.
Right.
Okay, so for this second goal, here we are, 2 or 3 minutes later, and Pep gets dispossessed in the middle of the field here, and again, this is where this second goal starts. Why is Harry where he is? Is he trying to support somebody? Like, you should have Gianni, you should have Luca, who's not in frame here, and then you have Zaha up there. Like, why is Harry is exactly where maybe Luca should be or Zaha should be, but here he is. This is where he is. For whatever reason, I don't know if this is Dean telling him to do this or if this is just Harry. Like, I am free as a bird, and I'm just going to bomb up the field. But Corey, if you want to go to the next frame, oh crap! Yeah. There's a guy behind me, wide open again. The guy that kind of screwed us.
Hold on. Just for reference here, our left back was higher up the field than our 6 and 8 in said frame. I just realized that. Yeah.
And so here's. I'm glad you called that out, David. So if this is going to happen, somebody has to fill in that gap back there. If this is the game plan, these center mids have to come out wide and take up that space, but clearly, none of that is happening. So again, a guy in behind Harry, 20 yards ahead. So this is how the second goal starts. So I think there's another one I grabbed. So we're all the way down the field now. And, you got Harry has, I guess, tracked back, but Tim Ream has had to come over to... This just makes me so mad. Tim has had to come over to cover for Harry at this point. You have Andrew again, who just loves taking up space in the middle of the 18. He's not trying to guard anybody. He's there to play zone defense, apparently. And then you have Nathan Byrne, who has Klaus, who probably should be Andrew Privet's, right? But no. And actually, I was watching this video. Privet actually looks back to see if Byrne is there and points to Klaus. I'm like, no, that's your man, because Byrne should have the guy who is, again, wide ass open at the top of the 18 now, which that ball could have been played to him too, but just wide open. Just so again, we can blame Andrew Privet, and there's some blame there, but these first two goals to me are Harry Tuffalo. All day, can't tell me any different. I mean, the ball comes on the first goal, the ball comes off the post, and the guy's there. Yes, maybe Andrew should be looking, and so should have Nathan Byrne. If you go back, Nathan Byrne should have had him too. But I'm blaming Harry on both of these first two goals.
I don't disagree, but I do think, to your point, Privet gets a decent bit of blame on this one. I mean, just totally losing Klaus, or I guess pushing Klaus off onto Byrne for no apparent reason. Because right before the screen, if I remember correctly from watching the match, which I refused to go back and watch a second time, so kudos to you for doing that. I feel like before this screenshot, he was with him. He was right in front of him, and then he just for some reason drifts off into this no man's land where he's not covering him.
I think part of that's also Klaus's game, like his work rate and being able to know that space and be able to flex into that. I mean, I think that's what he does. I mean, he did that the first time we played him in St. Louis as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just what he does. But I think Privet's got to own that and understand the guy that's in the middle of the field is going to do that.
Yeah, and I think, Corey, to your point, though, what happens, if I remember correctly, Privet turns around and sees Klaus, and then sees Byrne following Klaus in. So again, we talked about this. Was it the preseason show or maybe the first episode this season, where we're like, communication is going to be key. Runners coming into the box, switching off, and here's a prime example of You got him. I got him. You got him. I had him. What happened? I don't know. And so, yeah, Nathan does not continue following in on Klaus here. He stops and he puts up his hand like, please, God, let this be offsides. And it wasn't. So, yeah, definitely some blame there, too. But, I mean, that shot should have never been taken. Or, the cross in or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if he was really trying to shoot or whatever the case is. But either way, plenty to go around and blame, that is. But, yeah, this all starts with being out of position.
So can I play devil's advocate for you here, Swift, for a second? Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to act like I'm Dean Smith. Okay. So if, sorry, I'm trying, I was chuckling because I was like, do I want to try a British accent? But I was like, no, that'll be horrific. Corey's nodding. Yes, we really need that. Absolutely not. So if Tuffalo was that bad and is also being rogue to what the scheme is potentially, or not executing it, why in the second half was Tuffalo not subbed out at all? And you sub out your 6 and your 8 and your center back instead of the left back that you're saying is potentially at fault for some of these things. When you have an MLS quality starter potentially in Schnegg that showed some bursts last week, he got 0 minutes. So I'm just curious.
I don't know. I really thought after the half when I saw they were making changes, I was like, oh, Tuffalo is out of there. And he wasn't. And we're not done with Harry, by the way. We are nowhere near done. So I was shocked. I don't understand it because I felt like and here's the thing. I will say this about Dean. I really like that he made changes at halftime because usually he waits. But I really appreciated him like making those changes. But I thought one of them was going to be for Schnegg.
Yeah, so I guess like what you were talking about is those subs. I guess like I was assuming that if Harry was the issue, we would have subbed him out. But he subbed out the 6 and the 8. So do you think that Dean placed blame to the midfield a little bit in this game with like lack of possession? Because like Galaxy had possession like crazy in this first half. But then to your point earlier on that slide where you're saying Tuffalo was being pulled up, was that because no one was taking that space from the midfield? Like, and I guess we can transition to the Luca Del Torre and Diani conversation, but like, I guess did Dean see something that we didn't see to sub both those guys out at the start of the second half?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm having trouble kind of figuring out like what his thought process was. And again, I'm glad he made the changes, and I thought he was going to send a message to more people like, all right, you had a half, this is horrible, you're out. So I don't know, and I really need Dean to explain like what his strategy is. Like, what is he trying to do? Are these fullbacks being inverted, and if so, who's taking up that space? And the thing is, if you're going to have your fullbacks up that high, you have Tim Ream and Andrew Privet back, and they're not fast, so you're leaving them exposed, and or not giving them any help. Like our midfielders kind of dropping back into those spaces. Maybe they're supposed to, but I haven't seen it, and maybe that's why he made the change in the middle. Maybe, like, hey, get your captain back on the field, let's make some things happen. And, Brandt comes in. I don't know. But I was really shocked that Harry stayed on the field because he got even worse in the second half.
So I guess that leads to the next question a little bit. And it's a leading question too, I guess, because we were talking about Privet a little bit, but I think, so Zoran was answering some questions a little bit today. I think this either came from Soccer Sheet or Top End, so apologies to one of you two, but I'm crediting you both, so you both get credit for it.
Zoran was addressing the media after practice, during practice, so he was talking to kind of everybody.
Yeah, so I'm just saying this direct question came up, and it was like, is he concerned about the back line? And it came up like, hey, like they did bring in Kessler, but you can't predict injuries. So that's that's not a huge thing. But the other part of it, I know that was going to get you going. Was Zoran said, well, we sell an $8 million player. The way that the salary rules and limitations are set up, and the way this league is built, you're not able to replace a $8 million center back with another $8 million center back very easily. Which, yes and no. I get what he's trying to probably say is that, like, in MLS, you can't construct your roster with an $8 million or $5 million DP at center back. Mm-hmm. But I also feel that the plan should have been more than a Kessler Privet focus. Now, he also then credits saying, they took a risk. I don't want to say a risk, but they took a chance on developing a player like Malanda from like League Two in France, brought him over, was young, kind of raw, developed him into what he was at this point, and sold him for $8 million. And he specifically said, yeah, our chance this year is, Ajimain coming in and is raw and potential and could potentially fill in for us here, but he's raw, right? And so, like, do you agree with that assessment? I guess Kessler's a raw subject for you because you started like twitching and scratching your head and having, the shakes over there from that. But what's your thoughts on, like, I guess Zoran's, thought process there at center back?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Getting another Malanda, that's really tough to do. We found a diamond in the rough. Scouting, big shout out to the scouting team for finding him and then developing him to the point where we could sell him off like that. And I guess, yeah, you can't go out and buy a $8 million center back because, one, you don't have the spot for him. You have to go get it. You would have to get a DP level center back, which not a lot of teams do. And two, you couldn't because you don't have the spot for him. Should there have been a better game plan at center back? I don't know. Are you sure, David, that Zoran said it's hard to predict?
Oh yeah,
that's his quote.
So if you
I want to be sure because my blood pressure.
I'm gonna filibuster here for 2 seconds as I'm reading the quote here. So give me 2 seconds here, and he says, you can't prepare for injuries. That's something that happens or don't happen. We know that Malanda will go. We'll try to replace him, but it's impossible in this league in the current salary cap that it's impossible to replace $8 million player. So he does kind of say injuries you can't predict. But
typically,
but Kessler's a player that has a history of injuries before even coming here, right? So
that is correct, and that is what I think really makes my blood boil. Is that yes, you can predict this one because he has a history of it. So, but look, I'm trying to kind of look at this like what's going to happen in the summer. Are we going to fix that issue in the summertime? I think we're going to make lots of changes in the summer. So we'll see. But I'm very angry at the Kessler signing. You can't predict injuries, but yes, you kind of can with him. And we took that gamble, and it has already bit us in the ass. And so much so that you're having to rely on a kid that you just brought up to usurp a starter that you re-signed, by the way. So I don't know. I'm a little.
Did they ever release how long Kessler's gonna be out for, or did they say what the injury was? Because it happened during preseason.
Yeah, I think he's back in training. I think I saw that today, or like he's on the grass or touching grass or whatever.
Sounds like he's like sitting inside all the time, and you're like, he finally touched grass.
What is the deal with our defenders getting injured just all the time? So anyway, we're not off to a good start there. I'm a little frustrated. Not just that, just the coach. At a certain point, I got to look at Dean Smith and like, dude, what the hell are you doing? What's this game plan? And I've said this for like 2 years now, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm like, sometimes you just got to play normal defense. All 4 guys back in the back. Try not to get too cute and just play out of the back with 4 back there. Just boring ass soccer. But no, we're bombing down the sides. And the thing is, it's supposed to, they're supposed to be making overlapping runs and supposed to get all this offense. And we're not getting that. And we're just getting our ass kicked on the other way. So there's a lot of questions I have in general.
So I got, and this came up in just my sleuthing for stats, because again, to Corey's point, I kind of refuse to go back and watch and waste my time watching this game. So are you concerned about the attack at all? Because if you look at, and granted, it may be a hard sample size with the Galaxy when they have like 70% possession, 25 shots on goal, like just crazy stuff. But if you go back, we've scored, I think, 5 goals in 8 games in open play, not including PKs. So that goes all the way back to September of last year. That's including playoff games. One of those goals is Pep BL this year, right? Already in the first game. So like players like Vargas, Abada, Toklamati, and Wilfred Zaha and Pep BL, you have almost all your DPs in those front 4 positions to a certain degree. You've got a TAM level player in Pep BL, and this is not a criticism of Pep BL. You have a U22 designated spot for Toklamati. And in the last 2 games, you've had like 10 shots, and you've had 5 goals in 8 games. And the reason why we kind of exited the playoffs wasn't so much on defense. It was because we couldn't score points, even at home, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, are you concerned at all about Toklamati, Zaha, Vargas / Abada, Pep BL kind of being the shots and the creations for us in these games?
I'm not worried about the individual players and their quality and them able to do something. We've seen that. I'm worried again with our style of play, our shape, how we're moving the ball up and down the field, our lack of possession. And if we're going to have a lack of possession, we have to be a transition team, right? But we're not transitioning either. So it's just really ugly football. We don't have possession. We can't string 2 passes together. So the offense really can't get going because we can't get anything going. We talked about teams pressuring us. We don't do well there. We don't play well out of the back. And just a lot of heavy touches from our players too. I go back, and I think Dean actually referenced this too in the press conference. Like, one of the goals leads to Pep having a really heavy touch, gets dispossessed, and LA's going the other way. So just some basics we need to work on, but I'm not necessarily worried with the front 3. And when I say the front 3, I mean Vargas, Toklamati, and Vargas. I have all types of concerns about Abada, but and then Pep too. Like I'm okay with them. So it's just a matter of the way we're playing, the style we're playing is what I'm more concerned about.
So, and that's going to tee up my next question. And so I did look it up. That first question came from Soccer Sheet. So I just want to make sure I credit those folks where it came from about Kessler and the back line. This next one came from Top Bin 90. So, and I know our friend Willie P quoted it on Twitter because you sent the screenshot here. So Crenetta brought up Wilfred Zaha. So the question that came from Top Bin was basically like, hey, like during the summertime, or not during the summer, during the winter, you mentioned that you were going to start negotiating, or at least attempt to negotiate with Wilfred Zaha, see what he looks like long-term for us here. And he was quoted today saying, I'm waiting for Wilfred to start scoring goals and assists. I think what comes first. This is a team, and performance and results, quotations come first because they're assuming that's what he meant to say there. We'll be engaging and talking to Wilf and other players whose contracts are up. So I don't know if that was Zoran kind of letting a slip of the tongue there a little bit, or was kind of a purposeful kind of jab there a little bit. But we have a pretty emotional player in Wilfred Zaha. So you probably heard that and probably is hearing that a little bit. So what's your thoughts on Zoran's take there? And do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I would love for Zaha to get mad and start playing mad and angry and try to score a lot of goals. Just
and then he'll throw it back in her face in the summer window and say, "You're not signing me back." No, I'm just joking.
Hey, as long as he's scoring goals during the summer, we can figure that out then. But no, the quote was interesting. Zoran, I watched a little bit of that one, and he seemed like a little perturbed by. He answered it really quickly. And I don't know. I don't know what the negotiation is like from Zaha's agent. If they're getting upset, or if like Wilf, he's fiery. Maybe he has said some things, and maybe it's like, hey, yeah, why don't you score some more goals and get some assists before we talk about anything? But the thing is, he just got an assist the first game, so I don't know. I think Zaha has done enough to stay, and I think he will continue to. I don't know. It was an odd situation, odd quote. Yeah, I'm hoping this gets worked out.
Corey, I saw your face while I was reading that quote. So like this reminds me of like Panthers negotiations with like a franchise tag player, kind of like, oh, let's make a comment here in the press to kind of throw some negotiations out there. But like, what's your thoughts on that when you hear that quote?
I don't know. It's weird to me. Like, I don't understand what the like. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what's going on in the negotiation, but just to come out and blatantly say like, I need to see him score some more goals and get some more assists. It's like, wow, dude. I think, I mean, fair. Like maybe he could be producing more, but I don't know. It's just a weird. I don't know if that is going to help things at all. Is I guess my main takeaway is that actually going to help anything, or is that just going to make things worse to come out and say something like that?
Maybe he had a negotiation on how many goals and assists they could score for a bonus. Maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. I'm just trying to help Zoran out here a little bit.
I mean, I would be more concerned about my other DP winger than I would Zaha.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, there's other issues.
No, I mean, that question really didn't come up like, hey, are you going to re-sign Abada? Like, they did Zaha. So, I mean, I want to be fair there. But yeah, I mean, Zaha, if he's going to be a DP and we're going to keep him, he does need to produce. Well, I don't know.
To be fair to Zoran too, if you're actively trying to sell Abada, you're probably not going to go out in a press conference like, I really need him to score some goals and assists for us, and then be like, he's not even getting minutes on the field. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
So I'll transition to that, and I guess the next player I wanted to ask you about. So talking about new signings, players needing to produce. How short of a leash do you give Luca Del Torre? A little bit. So, because it's been 2 games. It's way too early to write off a player potentially, right? But this is someone that we spent some MLS funny money to get rights to from San Diego, then had to pay a transfer fee, and then get him over here to us. So, obviously spent that tam, thank you, man, whatever, kind of saying there. But it is... Is it too early? Like how much longer do you give LDT to kind of say like, yeah, man, let's work through this a little bit more? So, because Dean obviously saw enough last week and last game to be like, no, 45th minute, we're gonna make this change. So, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give him some more time. I think what I'll probably do is after this kind of 5-game homestand, that's 7 games in. We'll see kind of where we're, here's the thing. We're only 2 games in. It's pretty bad, right? But we're only 2 games in. We got a point from the first game. We could have very easily lost both games, right? And we've never done that well on the road, and a lot of MLS teams don't do well on the road. So now we're going to be at home for 5 games in a row. We're going to be playing in front of our home fans. Let's see what happens then. What I've seen so far, I haven't really liked, as far as, supposedly there's this upgrade in the midfield again that we talk about every single year. But, Luca has the potential and quality to be an upgrade. So I'm going to wait till after that homestand to really kind of make a true determination.
So on that note, and I get, it's funny you say that, because we're sitting here doom and gloom 30 minutes into this episode-ish, be like, oh my God, the sky's falling. We lost 3-0. Defense sucks. Midfield sucks. Tack's not getting any points. Wilfred Zaha needs to score more and assist more, according to Zoran, like all this crazy stuff, right? It's 2 games into the season. We had a atrocious losing streak last year where we couldn't even buy a win, and we still somehow finished top 4 in the East, right? Hosted a playoff game. Me and Corey even reflected back on this like 3 or 4 weeks ago, like first 5-game stretch, it's going to be really tough. You're going to be playing on the road in St. Louis. You're going to be playing on the road in LA, have Austin at home, Miami at home, New York at home, Nashville at home, Philadelphia at home, NYCFC away, Orlando away. Like that first 7-8 games is a really tough stretch of games, right? So like 2 things I'll say. One, it can't be doom and gloom yet because it's only 2 games into like a very long season. But big but here, you also can't go these next 7 to 8 weeks with like 0 points and 1 point and not be in the hole to start the season, right? So like, are we we're overreacting? I know you guys asked that question last week and posted on social media. Are we overreacting again, or is there some cause for concern here right now?
I don't know if it's an overreaction. I think maybe the worry is that I think we see warning signs for what could just keep happening. I think that's what a lot of people are worried about after the first 2 games. But I mean, we've had some stinkers in the past where we have really gone places and just played atrocious. But the thing is like, yeah, these games are tough. These games at home are going to be tough, but they're at home. And we've played tough teams before. We've had tough stretches before. And so you just got to take care of business. This team really needs to look in the mirror and say, what are we going to be about, and fix some of these errors that, we highlighted earlier. And there's still more. We still have a second half that we need to talk about, by the way, because I have more screenshots. But but there's lots to be excited about, first home game of the season coming up. And maybe this is just like a little blip and we'll be right back at it. And then, 2 games later, we're like, whoa, we're going to win MLS Cup. That's kind of the roller coaster we ride pretty much every single year, right? So.
Awesome. Sorry for jumping around there, but yeah, Swift, let's talk about those screenshots in the second half for you real quick.
Yeah, not second half. The first set we have is from the 37th minute, which...
Oh, sorry. It just felt like the 75th
basically
minute.
Everything after those first 3 goals felt like second half. I knew where you were going, but this was the 37th minute, so let me get this pulled up.
Yeah, and kind of this goes back to, is it doom and gloom? I think this kind of just shows like some of the things we really need to work on. And so if you see here, there's a guy out wide with the ball again on that same exact side that we've had trouble with all game long, and you have Tofolo and Zaha 2-on-1, guy out wide, right? Well, here's a problem. You have the screen grab. It's pretty hilarious. You've got Tim Ream that looks like he's
question marks.
He's got Tim Ream who's on the 18-yard box guarding no one, who looks like he's like surfing the 18-yard box. He's got his hands out doing something. I wish you could. If you can't see this, you should go on YouTube and watch this because it's really funny. Not really funny, but so you have Luca, who we talked about, and Diani, again, in the 18-yard box, not guarding a soul. They are just, we're playing zone defense for some reason. And there's just a guy, I think it's number 2. He is just in the middle of all 3 of these dudes, just wide open. Like, there's just, and I don't know if Tim's like pointing at this dude or what the case is.
I think he's pointing. That's what I was wondering, is if he's pointing at like someone else is going to guard him, which I don't understand why someone else would need to be doing it.
Nope. Tim has dropped into the 6-yard box and is just kind of hanging out. And again, there's a guy with the ball, two guys on him, a guy in the middle with nobody guarding him, and there's also somebody at the top of the 18, number 6, who's also wide open. So you may think that Luca would be out on number 6. You think Tim Ream would be out on number 2, but none of that happens. And so I think I've got the next clip forward. Yeah. So the guy that had the ball that was double teamed dishes it off to number 6, who was at the top of the 18. The guy that played the pass makes a run through, and we're kind of lucky a little bit because number 2, who's wide open, he kind of intercepts this pass for us. Tim Ream, you'll see in this frame, Tim starts to come forward. Like, oh yeah, I should probably guard this guy who's wide open, who and has been wide open. Luka now decides, like, hey, the guy at the top of the box with the ball, maybe I should probably go get him. So that's happening. But also, I want you to see something else that's very, very dumb at the bottom of the screen. So Vargas is usually pretty good on defense. I will give him that for a winger. But during this play, Vargas is running back up the field away from a defender or an offensive player that is behind him. He's running away. Again, he is running away from a guy he should be guarding. So go forward. Yeah. Harry, if you track, yeah, so I circle and put Harry. This is not Harry's fault, by the way. But go back again. Harry is contesting this shot. Why in the hell would he be contesting this shot? Now go forward again. He has to come over and contest this shot. Tim Ream just barely made it off the 6-yard box. He never came forward. He thought about it, but didn't. I guess maybe he was thinking, I'll guard the guy behind. But this shot gets taken. And again, look at the bottom of the screen. Where's Vargas? Why is he running that way? Like
our shape is so bad. So I'm looking at this.
It's horrendous.
We have nine of our players all within basically 20 yards of the goal to their 5 or 6. Sorry. And so the only ones that aren't is our striker. And then you have Kalina. Everyone else is in this screen here, and they still somehow get a shot off going towards goal.
And not even get a shot off. There are multiple wide open players. It's like, it's not even that they got a shot off on a tough shot. It's like 28 down here, no one near him. 8 over here, Vargas is running away from. This guy has some people kind of near him, but not really. Yeah. I mean, it's just like everyone's open. Yeah.
Now, again, go back one. You see where Vargas is.
Yep.
Right? There's a pass going on in our on 18-yard box, right? You see where Vargas is. Now go forward. Why is he running that way? Like, he should be back on defense guarding one or two of these guys over here on.
Well, especially because in the previous shot, you don't even see 28 down here, who I should know his name, but I don't have in front of me. But like, he's not even in this first shot right here.
Yeah.
So not only is Vargas running away from the guy right here, but there's another just completely unmarked man that Byrne and Vargas are having nothing to do with on this side. Just completely ignoring him.
It's almost as if LA knew what our strategy was to get super compact at certain times here, and was just like, I don't care what you guys are doing. Like, if you looked on paper, like LA was running a 4-1-4-1, whatever it is, but like it was almost like they were playing a 3-back set and had these wing backs, like a 3-5-2 almost at times, and almost challenging us and just hugging the sidelines while we just pinch inward into the box at times just to cover space. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I'm a soccer tactician here, but like, I don't know. There's something wrong here if we're 37 minutes into the match or 38, and they're still able to get shots off and have this many people open when 90% of our on the field players are all within the 18-yard box.
Yeah, go forward one more. This is so Kalina makes this save, right? This ball, I tried to do like the little dashes. That's the path of the ball after Kalina saved this. If there wasn't spin on this ball, number 28 rushes in, he could have put that in. But because it was spin on the ball off of Kalina's save, it goes out of bounds. And 28 almost gets to this ball. And Vargas, again, Byrne, just kind of watching this amazing save that Kalina made. And then I kind of watched Byrne after this. Byrne doesn't move after the save. And it just kind of like, it rolls out of bounds and Byrne's like, oh, thank God. It just beats all I've ever seen. But yeah, so there's that.
It's rough. I don't know. I don't want to go back and relive this anymore. I want to get off.
There's
Mr.
one
Bones'
more set
ride.
of screenshots though.
There's one more set because
we got to power through. This is the second half.
Let's do
this is the second half one.
This is the second half, right? And so I will say this: we are pushing to get a goal back. So
I'm making. Oh, I have these in the wrong order, so I'll start here.
Yeah,
This is 51st minute. All right.
Okay, 51st minute.
I just want to pause. I love the drawing. We need to find a way to let you do this live. Like I want the writing of where is Harry at the bottom. I want you to be doing this live on a show. We're gonna have to figure out how to do this.
I know how to do it. I'll talk to you guys offline about it. I'll do that next episode. Cool. I know what I need to do.
I really enjoy doing this, breaking this down. I think I'd be really, really good at this. But so anyway, so here we are. LA has the ball. They're on transition again. You've got Nathan Byrne. You've got Aljamain. He's in the game at this point. He's at center back. You have our other center back. Harry is nowhere to be found. Now, LA is still on their half. Klaus is about to play a ball out wide to where one would think a fullback would be. But he's not. So I just want you to remember where this ball is right now. And Harry's nowhere to be seen. Okay? So go forward. No, seriously, where is Harry? Now we had the ball was played on their own half. We are now, LA Galaxy is now at the top of our 18-yard box. Harry is still not in frame. Tim Ream is like, Bronico, you take the guy with the ball. I'm going to take Klaus because clearly I'm directing traffic here. I don't know what to think of this. Again, we are pushing up and trying to get a goal, but where's Harry?
I feel like this is Where's Waldo. Am I gonna have to zoom in to the supporter section? Find Harry back there. So,
and there's more Harry, or the lack thereof. Okay, so this is now the 59th minute. So we see Harry now. This is a different play. LA has the ball. Harry is where our winger would be playing. He is so out of position right here. I can't even imagine. And the reason why he's up this way, and I didn't want to take 50 screenshots, but anyway, Harry had made a run forward and he just kept running and the play kind of died and he just kept jogging forward. And so the ball gets turned over and Harry is out playing on the wings. And so the guy with the ball has two guys out wide that he can pass it to. And if you want to go forward, I think, or did I do one, or is that the only one?
I think that's the only one.
Yeah. But anyway, they got a shot on goal on this one too. And also too, if you go back and look at that one, there's just no one near these guys. Like Brant's not near them, or it's just completely. I am just stunned by all of it. I don't understand any of it. So,
who's that in the midfield? I see Brant, but is that Vargas and Zaha together in the midfield behind Pepiel?
I think that's Zaha, right?
Is that?
Yep. Yeah, and that's either, is that Toklamati maybe? Or is that kind of looks like Vargas?
Right? I think Tokolani's up top.
Yeah, no, that's Vargas and Zaha, because you definitely want your wingers in the very center of the field.
And is that Nathan Byrne?
So is that Byrne all the way up here?
Yes, that's Nathan Byrne.
What the?
What are we doing?
I forgot to even call that one out.
Our two highest guys on the field right now are Byrne,
left back and right back,
and Harry.
Like, what are we doing?
Now, in their defense, we are pushing, getting late.
I get it. But, yeah, right.
But I mean, let's move as a unit, right? Let's transition as a unit. Like, somebody needs to tell our fullbacks or Dean that, and that's the thing. Like, whose fault is this? And for those listening on the podcast and not watching on YouTube, I do apologize. Lots of screen grabs, but probably hard to follow. But do yourself a favor. Just go back and watch the match highlights and just pause it during certain things, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's pretty atrocious. And there's other moments too that I just was like, I've taken too many screen grabs, so I'll just stop.
I'm just gonna date myself a reference here. You ever see the meme where Franklin's balling a fist? And it's just a zoom in of his fist being balled into a fist. I'm imagining Dean Smith right now listening to this podcast, which I know he's not, just listening to us dissect these screenshots, and his hand is just balling into a fist in a fit of rage. Like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. I'll show them next week. I'm going to send the fullbacks even higher up next week.
And the thing is, it's like maybe like me looking at this and doing it, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass and I don't understand soccer or tactics, and I'm missing something. Maybe I am just missing something, but I need somebody to explain to me what I am missing and what the plan is here, because I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing a lot of nonsense out there.
Well, whatever you're seeing, the results are there. We're not creating chances, and we are giving up way too many. Mm-hmm. So whatever is happening, or what you're seeing or what you're not seeing, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
In your first two games to get outshot like 40 to 20 or 40 to 18 shots is not a good sign.
Yeah,
like, it's clearly not working.
How many saves does Kalina have right now?
Crazy amount. I think 20 saves.
He had 10 in the first game, right? And then
yeah.
Kalina's kept us in it even more so than what we needed.
I was trying to look it up real quick, but
I was going to try to find it real fast.
I mean, they had 12 shots on target. LA did.
Kalina had
so at least 9. I think he had 9 saves, right? Maybe.
Yeah, 9 saves.
So I'm doing. Yep. So 19 saves.
So almost 20 saves. Yeah.
In 2 games.
The LA goalkeeper had 1 save.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was, I think that was off a Vargas shot.
Yikes.
So yeah, there we go.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. But hey, you know what? It's a new week. Mm-hmm. We have a new home game at Austin. Against Austin. So you want to transition to Q&A real quick, Corey, and answer some questions before we promote some. Yeah, I'm sure we may have answered a few of them already too.
Yeah, I'll bounce around and mention ones that people asked that we already kind of answered. I'll start with Philip. So he has 2 questions, one short-term, one long-term. Short-term question is, who do you start in the back line on Saturday?
Well, I was going to assume you keep the same 4 players, but the fact that Ajman came in second half, could see him. I don't know. It's a risky move. I don't know if Kessler's back yet, Swift, right? I know you said he touched grass earlier, but I think it's too early for him.
Yeah, I think it's too early for him. I think what I would do, it's a home game. I would run out the same starting 4 and just try to give Privet some confidence and talk to Tim Ream and Nathan Byrne and Harry or whoever's playing out on the other fullback side. So, but I think I would run the same I don't know, man. I would maybe start Schnegg. I don't know. And the thing is, I like Harry Tuflo. I've met him when he first got here. I was really excited about him, but Jesus, he has not been good for 2 games either. But yeah, I think we'll probably see Dean run the same 4 out there.
Okay. And the long-term question, what do you prioritize if you're in Zoran's position if the doom scenario of potentially losing Zaha, Abada, and Vargas happens during the summer transfer window? Who do you prioritize and why?
So remember I mentioned this like a month ago, Corey. You're like, who has the most pressure heading into this season? And I said, ironically, Zoran could, depending on how the summer transfer window goes, because you do have the risk of trying to offload Abada. You have the risk of Zaha walking away without a contract. You have people calling for Vargas, which again, going back to the questions earlier from Zoran, I don't know if you listened to all of them, Swift, but I was listening to him earlier. They brought up Vargas's interest from, I think, either Central or South American teams. And Zoran's like, oh, well, that one's new to me. So like, I guess he's trying to dispel that a little bit, but like people mentioned it again earlier in the window last year. Right. So like, I know you said we could have a lot of changes, but that's a lot of holes to fill. Mm-hmm. And if you decide to go out and try to get a center back again, like that's a lot. So that worries me a little bit.
Do we have really quickly? They put out the roster designations. Does anybody have that handy real quick?
I do,
because I want to see when contracts are up and when the options are. So for me, Abada should be gone. Sell him. You have that empty slot. Vargas can be a starter on the wing. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with Vargas starting.
I've got the roster designations up, by the way.
Awesome. So I would, figure out the Zaha situation. If he's going to stay, great. If not, that's your number one priority. You got to get like a difference maker on the wing. You're pretty good up top. You've got a playmaker in Pep, who I think is amazing signing. But you got to figure out your center back pairing too. So I would say figure out Zaha, figure out your center backs. I think you're okay on the wing unless Vargas does leave. Then I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want to have Abada as my starter. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But
so do you want to know whose contracts end this year?
Yeah, I think it's Abada's one of them, right?
It's a pretty big chunk. Now these are there's a lot of options here, but Lula Abada ends 2026. Wilfred Zaha ends June 2026. Petkovic ends 2026, but he's on loan with Seattle.
Yep.
You have Christian Kalina 2026, Henry Kessler 2026, Tim Ream 2026, Ashley Westwood 2026, Brant Bronico 2026, Nathan Byrne 2026, Jabril Gianni 2026, and David Schnegg 2026. Now, all of them have options for 2027, 2028, et cetera, except for Jabril Gianni and Wilfred Zaha. So everyone else has at least some kind of option to keep them going, but that's a lot of pieces there.
Yeah, like I said, I think to answer the question, figure out Zaha, because that's kind of will domino into other things. But if you lose Zaha, you've got to replace him with a really big signing, and then just figure out your center backs. And I think again, like rethinking our game plan, I think is another big. So if I'm Zoran, I'm having a conversation with my coach.
Yep. All right. Next question from Joe. Basically, the short version, we have another screenshot to share, is can you explain Tokomati's positioning? So I'm going to pull up the heat map from the LA match that he references.
Okay. That's a good one.
So here's Tokomati's heat map from the LA match. And for, again, our audio folks here, this is just pulled from FootMob. So if you want to go look at it, you can go see it too. But he basically, I mean, it's kind of all over the map. Like it's not, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just like kind of weird little isolated touches, not a whole lot in the box. Most of his touches are more in like the midfield area. And and a lot in his own goal area, which I think is interesting too. But anyway, the follow-up of his question is, is it because of the style we're playing? Is it the midfield not getting the ball in the right space? Like, what's going on here that's accounting for? He seems like and Joe goes on to say, he seems like he's never in the right place, is very static, spends not a lot of time in the box, that kind of deal. Any thoughts on this positioning situation?
No, it's a good question. I'd be interested to see what it looked like that first game. But I think a lot of this is just we're turning the ball over quickly, or we're not possessing the ball. And so your center forward is going to drift towards the midfield to try to get the ball. And also, too, he's playing lots of defense. So that's probably why you see him like back further or kind of like in these weird pockets of space, because the other team has the ball and we're running around trying to get it. But I usually like how he moves off the ball. I don't really have any concerns right now with Tokomati. I think he's proven that he's very capable. What if we have a decent flow? I just think our whole entire team is discombobulated. Like, we're not moving as a unit. We're not possessing the ball well. And again, I think our fullbacks are a massive problem right now. So, and I think that just throws off the rest of this.
Yeah. And I can show you the from the first match too, if we just want to talk about it, but like we don't have to.
Sure. Yeah.
This is match 1 of the season.
Yeah.
So very similar. Again, it's almost interesting. There's a lot of his stuff is like in the midfield and on the sides. Like, he's not, for being your striker, there's not a whole lot forward in the middle here.
Yeah. I do think the middle is having to come back on defense because, again, think about this. Like, we don't press. We hang back at the midfield and wait for a team to come forward. So a lot of this is Tokomati running around the middle of the field, waiting for them to come across, or maybe, pressing them a little bit once they get to a certain point. So that's what a lot of this probably is. And then two, think about it, Tokomati's going to get pulled out of the middle as our wingers kind of go into the middle. So he's got to move around. But again, I think a lot of this is just because we don't have a cohesive unit going forward.
Mm-hmm. All right. A few more questions we'll get into. Eric had a kind of a two-parter around playing time and West Coast, East Coast stuff. So he says, I want to believe that Charlotte FC playing at 10:30 had a hand in the extremely sloppy first 15 minutes. It's a decent home field advantage for West Coast teams when hosting East Coast opponents at 7:30. So the questions are, one, for our game specifically, should the coaching staff be held just as accountable for not traveling an extra day earlier to get over the time difference? And then I'll ask the second question after that one. But any thoughts on travel being an issue here?
I don't know if travel's like the blame, but like, I think there was an NFL study this past year where even NFL teams struggle when they travel to go on the West Coast, where it's like the West Coast teams usually have a pretty significant winning advantage, just because they explain the science by it, but like your body's peak levels like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon or some crazy stuff out there like that. And if you go to the West Coast, your body starts to shut down because it's naturally used to going to sleep at that point. So I don't know. I think it's always going to be tough when you're traveling across country to play that late in the day, but I don't know how you prevent that, to be honest with you. I don't think an extra day of travel would have helped, but I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't know if that extra day really kind of does anything. I don't know if your body gets acclimated that quickly.
As someone who had to travel out west like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I felt like shit. So like, I'm not gonna, I despise that feeling, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. And the follow-up, I don't know if we need to go too deep into that, is basically like, should East Coast teams be allowed to schedule noon or 1 p.m. start times for when Western teams come to give them the same kind of home field advantage? I mean, maybe I kind of get to what y'all are just saying, is that like traveling across the country regardless is tough and on your body, and kind of knowing what time it is and being kind of off your rhythm. So I don't know if the time of match makes as big of a difference as it is just the pure travel and, jet lag that puts on you. So I think that's just part of I mean, you hear people talk about it when they talk about the difference in MLS versus other leagues around the world, is that the country is just so much bigger, and the travel time and the adjustments you have to make to that travel are a big part of coming to play in MLS. So I think that's just
it's
kind of
like
part of the game.
The peak, the farthest match in England was something like going from Virginia to Florida or some crazy shit like that. Like that's we're like, whatever, that's the Southeast. Like that's normal. Like we're good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you think about these first two games, we had to go to St. Louis and then the West Coast, right? So that's not easy. And it looked like a lot of the Western Conference teams handled the Eastern Conference teams when they've played head to head so far. So it's not just us. So maybe there's some positives to take away, right? If you're going to play 2 road games, get these ones where you have to go the furthest out of the way, and then we're back home. So maybe we need to calm the hell down. All right, see how we do at home.
So that actually leads perfectly into our final set of questions from Russell. One he asked, and I feel like we kind of you touched on this, so I'll just give you a chance to say any more if you want to. But he says, is giving up on Luca De La Torre after 2 games really the best idea? Which I think, Matt, you talked about a little bit, is like, I'm going to give him some time, which I think I agree with too. Yeah. 2 matches, that's not enough to make a huge decision on. But to the point you just made, at what point would you hit the theoretical panic button on the team/season, David?
After this 5-game home stretch, if we shit the bed and hardly get points on it, that's where I would start to panic, to be honest with you. You have to get points at home. And MLS, like we saw it last year, we've seen it years past, you have to get points at home. You cannot afford to let points walk away at home. And unfortunately, we have a pretty tough gambit here of home games. So that would be when I start to pull the panic or push the panic button, Russell.
Yeah, and too, like, I think it's the way that we play. If we lose one of these 5 games, but we're looking good, improving, maybe get just a little unlucky, that's different than like just getting blown out, right? And just looking like you've never played soccer a day in your life. So there's a 100%. Difference there too, right? You know, like maybe there's a draw in there, maybe there's a loss, but it's the way that we're playing too, I think really, really matters.
Totally agree. All right. And then the last question is from Russell also, is what are you doing to build good vibes for this weekend?
Well, getting all this out of my system, all these screen grabs. And I think you have to kind of like, I find that's kind of helpful. I purge all this crap out of my head, all these, bad things I have to talk about. And now it's just free sailing to the weekend. And then also too, I get to hang out with you guys on Friday night, the night before the game, where we have a live show.
There's a segue I was hoping somebody would do. There it is.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. So that's and we get to see a lot of you guys and gals out there. So that'd be some good vibes for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give all the info on that, because I know we've teased it a couple weeks in a row now. But this Friday, y'all have more of the info. I'm going to start teeing you up, but Matt, take over, because I think you have more of the info than what we're doing. But Friday night, we're at NoDa Brewing, correct?
Yep.
Where am I going Friday? Okay, cool.
That's where you're going. Be there. Yeah. So, the Mint City Collective typically does like a night before the home opener, kind of extravaganza fun thing. So we're doing it again this year. And we get to do a live show there. There will be speakers, so you'll get to listen to us while you're there.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not. But it'll be a live show for people who cannot attend. Can actually listen. I probably won't have screen grabs for that one. I'll spare you that. I think I've got that all out of my system. But hopefully we can grab a few of you and get you up on stage. But the event starts at 6:30, and we're going to go live at 7. The event runs till 9:30, and then of course you can just close the bar down if you really feel like it. But that's when the event is going to 6:30 to 9. We go on at 7.
So not to put you on the spot, Swift, favorite NoDa beer that you're going to have to partake in while we're there?
The pitch side.
Oh, look at that segue. How about you, Corey?
I'm a sucker for IPAs, so my typical NoDa beer is a hop drop. That's what I go for. And Jam Session as a pale is also very good.
That's a good one.
That's my usual go-tos there. I actually haven't been to the NoDa Brewery in a long time. So I'm excited to get back out there. It used to be one of the staples, and I haven't made it out there in a while. So that'll be good.
Just to be clear, too, we're not at the OG location. We're at the
I think they stopped.
Location.
I think they closed the location, didn't they? The OG location. Not this is a beer podcast, but I think they did. So yeah, the one on podcast. The one on Tryon, the big one. That's where we'll be. So yeah, excited to do that. It's always fun to do the live shows. Especially now that we're all in town. David doesn't have to trek in like an hour and a half to.
I know, right? I'm so
do this. So
nice. I could even pick Corey up on my way if I really wanted to. And be like, let's carpool, buddy.
I like it.
You know,
I like it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I think I'm like Jam Sessions kind of my go-to for them. Unless it's the fall, then I go with a Gorgeous. But
yeah,
that's
totally.
Yeah, but it's not that. Pitch side sounds pretty good though, Swift. I might have to pace myself doing a live show and not drink a ton of Jam Sessions and then start fumbling my words even worse than I do now.
That's why I'm sticking with the pitch side. I'm not drinking anything like high alcohol volume. I need to make it through the show.
They still have a Cheerwine one? I think they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they still have it.
I'm trying to look to see if they got
I'm doing a terrible job promoting them. I'm sorry. I'm like,
yeah, they got it. They
I'm
still,
like OG location, Cheerwine beer, you know.
They still got it.
Things.
They still got it.
We know things. Oh, they still have hopcakes. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the menu now. Hopcake. Again, not something you should do when you're trying to, be able to talk intelligently on a podcast. But man, hopcakes, the Imperial IPA. Oh man, it's so good.
I think some would argue that it really doesn't matter if we're stone cold sober or drunk. Still don't make any sense.
I mean, that's fair. It's very fair.
I'm looking at the Carolina Quencher. Sounds pretty good. Tropical wheat ale. I don't know if they have that right now. That sounds like it's a seasonal, but yeah, look at me. I'm promoting them here. They're good partners, trying to help us, keep them. Jam Session's good. Radio Haze is always a good one too. That was a good one that I used to go after as well. But
yeah, they have plenty of great selections. We will be having a great time.
I think Glory Days
selections.
Glory Days is going to be there too. By the way,
our friends JD from Glory Days will be there, so they'll have some soccer stuff. I'm sure some Glory Days stuff. I'll probably be hitting my wallet a little bit while I'm there. So be sure you check out JD and his stuff. Always great.
David, Corey, do you have the new kit yet?
No, that was going to be my answer to building good vibes. Is I was going to get the kit this week finally.
Sorry, yeah,
I haven't needed to because they've worn the Fortress kit both of the first two matches of the season. But now I need to get the matching kit for Saturday. So at some point this week, I'll be swinging by the team store to get mine.
I should wear the purple kit on Friday just for the real good vibes.
You should. You should. Now, Corey, another question is, what are you going to get a name and number on the back, or are you just going to go blank?
Go blank. The only one I ever got a name and number on was the Lightning kit. Just because I thought it looked dumb without it. Just frankly.
It does look better with the name.
The Ally logo on the butt did not look good alone. It looked much better with the name and number.
Now, they may start doing that on all the jerseys now. Have you seen that? The new sponsor spaces?
The new sponsor locations?
Yeah. And I think we should really lean into it and have dude wipes at the very, very bottom of our jersey.
See, I like that one. My suggestion was cookout with a corn dog back behind there. I think that would be chef's kiss too. So
if this show ever creates a jersey, it has to have.
It's gonna be Bojangles cookout. It's gonna be just the most unhealthy
sure we can get
Southern
like the
stuff
marketing
ever.
guy at Cookout to be like, throw us a few bucks to put a sponsor on a jersey. We could do this. We can make it happen.
Yeah, maybe a patch cookout. Hey, I tried sliding into their DMs like 3 years ago and I got ghosted. So
it's wrong.
I was like, dude, I'm giving you guys such good promotion. Come join our show or like talk to me about corn dogs. And they were
such good promotion. Sure, yeah, okay. I'll be like, no, we heard your show. We're not sponsoring you guys.
We know what you're doing.
Yeah,
We're fully aware.
Yeah.
Then I sent the picture of me eating a corn dog is what I did.
Yeah.
It's great.
We have your photo up in our office.
Avoid this guy.
Can I make one gripe before we go on?
Sure.
Can we stop having home matches on the Duke Carolina game? This happens every year. Every year. The second one, because the first one usually happens before the season's over, but the final Duke Carolina game before the ACC tournament starts, without fail. I don't know if it's been all 5 years, but it's been most, if not all of them. Duke Carolina's happened at the same time. And I know I'm going to be at the soccer match. I'm obviously that's where my allegiance lies, but I'm like, come on, y'all. Can we not keep scheduling that at the exact same time?
That's interesting.
This is my personal gripe that I'm having to struggle with every year.
Well, that's a shame that you have such a good college basketball team, sir, that you can actually enjoy watching games. So, it's okay. I'm a Virginia Tech fan. We have like one good year every 5 years, so it's fine.
Sorry about it.
It's fine.
And then I have the constant thing of like, okay, do I try to avoid the score and then go watch it? Or do I just keep up with it? And usually I just keep up with it because there's enough people that are like also Carolina fans around or Duke fans, but mostly Carolina fans, that I'll usually be able to tell what happens in the game based on reactions of people around. So again, I'm just asking for one thing. Try to see, like, as we're doing the schedule, like, can you just like
not asking for
say
much?
Not have a home game? I mean, have an away game, obviously, fine. I'll do a double screen situation. I'm good. Can we not keep having the same time, please? Thank you.
Could have done the LA Galaxy game at 10:30 p.m. and it would have been just fine.
Right. Exactly. It was perfect. I mean, other than the soccer game being, like I said, crap.
Garbage.
It was really nice to have basketball to lead into soccer. I'm okay with that situation. But anyway, that's just my personal gripe.
Good gripe though. So
if you want to hear me gripe about more things, you can join on our Patreon and get into our Discord.
Yeah.
We're killing the segues
really grinds
today.
my gears.
So come check that out. We didn't.
I was just gonna say, I think I'm creating some new concepts and some new content for the Discord. So Swift is gonna do John Madden-esque like slides and do some video drops, like Swift's minutes or something like that, and just do some John Madden drawings. And we're gonna do a Grumpy Corey gripe where he talks about like interstate driving, merging lanes, the wave, all that fun stuff. So it's good.
I like it.
I just love this become my brand. It's like griping about things.
Hey, my brand's corn dogs, man. I'll take Grumpy any day of the week.
Love it. All right.
Oh, that's great.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully we will see you on Friday when we record live at NoDa Brewing. Come check it out. Again, we will do a live show on YouTube as well. So anybody who can't be there in person, tune into that. We'll have that rolling at 7:00 as well. And then again, we have the first home match of the season on Saturday. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be optimistic going into it. I'm hoping we have a great night. Whatever happens, we'll be back to talk about it next week and hopefully be in better moods when we open the episode. So
let's hope.
Let's hope. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, David. Talk to y'all later.
See ya.